Hello, and this is JR from Ephesians 2 Ministry. The purpose of this video is to try and explain something that most Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses, and yes, even a lot of Christians may not completely understand, and that is the differences between law versus grace. I will start by giving a short story to try and explain the differences between the two. While the law demands, grace gives. While the law says do, grace says believe. While the law exacts, grace bestows. While the law says work, grace says rest. While the law threatens announcing a curse, grace entreats announcing a blessing. While the law condemns the best man, grace saves the worst. While the law says do, and thou shalt live, grace says live in Christ and thou shalt do. The law reveals the true character of God. The law reveals the true weakness of man. The law was never meant to save you. You haven't kept the law. You are guilty of breaking the law. And despite all your goodness and good works, you deserve hell. The law sets forth what man ought to be, but grace is there for you. Go to your Father and ask Him for it. Now, the most common objection to this, to those that oppose this concept, they'll bring up James chapter 2, verse 20, which in King James Version reads, "But wilt thou know, O vain man, that faith without works is dead?" Let's take a look at a few more versions of this same verse to try and get a better feel for what it's saying, since none of us speak King James English anymore. In the NIV it reads, "You foolish man, do you want evidence that faith without deeds is useless?" In the Amplified Version it reads, "Are you willing to be shown, you foolish fellow, that faith apart from works is inactive and ineffective and worthless?" In the Message translation it reads, "Do you suppose, for just a minute, that you can cut faith and works in two and not end up with a corpse on your hands?" Now, I would start by asking what the main focal point is of this chapter, let alone the verse. Is it faith or is it works? It's faith. Remember, throughout the entire chapter it's speaking about faith and how works emphasizes faith. Ephesians chapter 2 tells us how we're saved. We're not saved by works. We're saved by grace, for it is by grace that we're saved through faith, that it is not of yourselves, it is a gift from God, not by works, lest any man should boast. We're saved by grace, and our faith will never change the power of God's grace. And if you get nothing else out of this video, I would ask that you remember this. Jesus spoke while dying on the cross these famous words, "It is finished." May God bless you and keep you safe.